Welcome back to Mrs. M. Gentlemen, let's get started. Fantastic now services at the Kenyatta National Hospital were put on hold Monday after about 5,000 workers went on strike over delayed disbursement of improved salaries and allowances, which totaled to 601 million. Now, families were forced to pick up their relatives from the hospital due to lack of services. Now, the Kenya Union of Domestic Hotels, Educational Institutions and Hospital Workers could either... Wow. All right. The Kenya National Union of Nurses and the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and the Dentists Union are demanding implementation of resolutions from the State Corporation Advisory Committee passed in 2012, which upgraded the hospital's parastatal status from 3C to 7A. Now, following recategorization of the facility, all staff working at KNH were supposed to get enhanced pay. Now, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, said the recategorization is not a basis for demanding a pay review, as it is not physically sustainable and will cause distortions in the sector's salary structure. Fine. That's where SRC is coming from. Now, SRC wants the KNH to retain the current remuneration structure as it awaits job evaluation for the remuneration review cycle of the financial years 2021-2022 to 2014 to 2025. Is SRC right in proposing this? I want to start with you, Collins, just to understand. Has SRC just been caught up? Because once you review that, it goes in hand with a salary review.
I don't understand why. I don't know if I'd call it impatience or selfishness of union leaders insofar as bargaining for their workers is concerned. I don't understand why we always just have so much headlines. I mean, in the face of a pandemic like this one, and in a face where, and I saw yesterday a woman pleading with the workers at KNH to just attend to her patient. I mean, I don't understand at what point we decide to leave the boardroom and decide to have an industrial action. And I've seen the court has issued an order to the KNH workers to return to work pending an hearing of a petition that has been filed by KNH officials towards that. I mean,
yes,
I understand
ideas. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand that there was an amendment to, I think it's state, whatever, an act that was now elevating KNH from the level of 3 something to 7A. Insofar as that was done so many years ago, I mean, what KNH officials are insisting is that they have not been given room to have extensive consultation. And so, in my view, I think, in light of what is happening, this is more of an humanitarian issue, not even a labor force issue. In light of what you're facing as a pandemic, I mean, it's just time for these guys to have just courtesy and decency. Insofar as you need your pay, I think you have to consider what other people are going through. And this is the time for them to shelve their interests, quote unquote, put them on hold, let the officials do the work and the background, and lobby for them as they're doing the work, because the country is hurting, the health sector is hurting. It's just a very bad time to hit us with a strike at this moment.
Pretty much. Alex, I want to bring you in on this, and I want to go to exactly what SRC did say. Now listen to this. They're saying that the recategorization is not a basis for demanding a pay review, as it's not physically sustainable and will cause distortions in the sector's salary structure. Double speak? Are they cognizant of the fact that yes, it could actually equal to a salary increase, but now because of what we're going through now, and so they say it's not sustainable and will cause distortions in the sector's salary structure? What do you read of that statement?
It's interesting how in their statement SRC does not fault Parliament, because then if that was true, if that is the case, then I think that the first thing will be for them to fault Parliament, because in the recent budget process, Parliament actually allocated money to go to the increased salaries for the healthcare workers, and Treasury is supposed to release that money. How it looks to me is that Treasury is trying to do a backflip or a somersault behind the scenes, because right now they are not really able to release any funds. Remember that the Treasury is really under pressure. most of the counties have not received actually all the funds that they're supposed to receive. And so this could be Treasury just playing its own a backhand so as not to release that funds. But I think it's also important to say that the SRC as a constitutional commission in Article 230 is actually mandated to advise the national and county government on the remuneration of public officers, and in doing so, it is supposed to exercise that function by ensuring that the public wage bill is fiscally sustainable. And of course, I think many economists have already said that our public wage bill is really a huge balloon, and even the recent numbers released by the Treasury show that our wage bill went from, I think, about 419 billion to 490 something billion. So it's still increasing, putting pressure. We are not able to really sustain our public debt because of that recurrent expenditure. But I think, in my opinion, that Treasury has a hand in this. They're not trying to challenge the legality of it, but I just think they don't have, this is not the proper time for them to release such funds to KNH. Yeah.
Pretty much. Enoch, let me get you in on that as well. Now they're saying, well, that is SRC which is saying, well, it's not physically possible right now for us to give you that salary increase. So they're telling KNH, please wait until we do our review for the salaries that's going to stand all the way up to 2025. They have a point, but you think that they're now trying to manage the basis of reviewing the salaries now when it's too late?
I think for SRC, they have been doing their job since, of course, the commission was formed, and theirs is actually to review and advise both the national government and the county government. That they do.
Have they, Enoch, but Enoch, have they done it though? Because now we're talking about our salary structure that stands at, our remuneration that stands at 53% of our collections, when in reality they should be reducing it back to 33%. They haven't done that.
But you see, if you actually look at the Employment Act, and the lawyers in the House will be able to tell you, it is actually legal to reduce someone's salary. That actually is in the Employment Act. And what SRC has been trying to do is to deal with this issue of allowances that have been a challenge for us for a long time, and try to see how we can be able to harmonize the pay across the government agencies so that we have uniformity in the salaries. But the challenge I have, and I'll definitely want to stand with the employees of this country, is that you are faced with a situation where your master is eating meat with bones, but he's actually telling you that there's not enough food for you, you have to wait until tomorrow. So you have the kind of theft that has been going on at KEMSA, the kind of theft that has been going on in the government, is the same government officers that are telling you that we do not have enough money to give to our employees. It is actually a bit paradoxical. It does not make sense. So we must be able to try and be true to ourselves. Do we have uniformity of salaries across all our government agencies? Do we have salaries actually matching the risk and the workload that people do? Remember, the health workers and people do a lot of work, and some of us interact with them. I mean, my wife works in a hospital. I know what they go through every day. These people need to be remunerated in a way that it actually matches the risk that they face. So if we cannot be able to deal with these two issues of how we can be able to match the salaries across the board, at the same time try to ensure that we don't have theft of public resources, we can be able to address these issues. So in a country that we are losing billions and billions of shillings every month, you cannot be telling the worker to wait. And yet, people are pocketing the money and are enjoying the loot. Everyone wants to become rich in this nation, Simba. So I cannot work hard so that another person becomes rich. I also want to be able to get my genuine share through the hard work that I do every day for this country, serving the people of this country. That is my take.
Pretty much. Let's move on to the next issue, one of Nairobi Metropolitan Services, NMS. Now, wants the controller of the budget and the Senate to compel Nairobi County to release 253 million shillings meant for the provision of healthcare services. Officials from NMS, led by Deputy Director General William Kanyada and NMS Director for Health Services, Josephine Mbai, told the Senate Committee on Health that despite health being one of the transferred functions, the county is yet to change signatories for the bank accounts. Now, the 253 million is meant for the provision of services for health centers and dispensaries in Nairobi County. This therefore means that NMS cannot access the money to run the level 2 and 3 health facilities in the city, and also to do renovations and buy drugs for the facilities. Out of the amount, 127 million shillings is still being held at the central bank, where the county government still bears the signatories, while 126 million is held at the county revenue fund. I guess, yes, that's an intricacy. And I want to start with you, Alex. How did you feel about this issue, and especially NMS in general? I mean, that's for me will be the question I asked this morning.
This is just poor deal making. This is just poor deal making. As a corporate lawyer, when you are selling a company, either selling the business or selling, the majority of the shares, one of the main things that you do during completion is that as you're signing away the titles to the shares or the title to the business, is at the same time you require the selling parties to sign, a change in bank mandate or a change in the bank signatory, or actually pass a resolution that will direct the bank to change the bank mandate or the signatories. So for the national government to have entered into this deal with the Nairobi County government for the transfer of the functions and not be able to have either gotten a resolution from them or ensured that that the principal parties signed the change in bank mandates is honestly, I think it's a really poor side on the Attorney General side, or whoever the legal department that was running the deal. This was just something that was oversight and should have been done at the time when they were transferring the functions. So just think it's just poor handling of the transition process.
Pretty much. Collins, let me bring you in on that as well. Do you see this as the existing struggles that the NMS now is facing from what is left, therefore, of the county government of Nairobi?
From the onset, I've been saying NMS, as is constituted presently, is unconstitutional. Even the process by which the transfer was sanctioned right from State House, for me, was always unconstitutional. State House was so much concerned with getting Governor Soko out of the way, so much so that they did not even pay attention to the nitty-gritties of this. And the court has sided with what I'm saying. Justice Wasilwa held that the transfer was unconstitutional and asked Parliament, rather asked the President and national government to take 90 days to legalize that process, and they are yet to do that. I later saw them going ahead and conducting public participation seminars and conferences and all those. Their target was mainly to get Mike Sonko out of this because he was corrupt and all those things that were happening to them, and so they thought they could get into a quote-unquote plea bargain with the government and see how he exits the office. And that's why we've seen there's a lot of cold war insofar as who is going to manage workers. You remember the last time when NMS was calling again workers for the county government to be registered again, and then there was that problem when there was that issue whereby the governor wrote letters to those employees and told them not to show up to the NMS recruitment process, and they later showed up, and all those things that has been happening to the county of Nairobi. I think for me, where I see that we've been having so much flagrant disobedience to the law. I mean, we are the situation whereby the NMS head, General Mbadi, is sitting now in cabinet. We have Nairobi County government being allocated monies that are going to NMS and also that are going to Nairobi County. We are seeing a lot of duplication of roles. At the end of the day, they're going to hurt the common wananchi who is incurring the tax that is going to either to Nairobi County and that is going to the NMS. If you want to dissolve Nairobi County, as is the proposal so far, do that, but not sanction this in an unconstitutional manner. Subject this to the people, because Nairobi County, as it is in the constitution, in the county government, in the devolution. If you want to sanction dissolution of Nairobi County, do that through subjecting this to the people. Let people assent to that, let people okay that move, and so that you can move the way you want to move. But having unscrupulous ways and using the back door to impose people and impose your control over Nairobi, to me, is so much unconstitutional.
Pretty much. Enoch, have the final say in this morning. It looks as if it's a struggle. You say, I say, with the county government, we are still there to clear on this. Do you think that affects to a larger extent service delivery?
I just want to read two lines from the statement that the governor issued yesterday. The one is statement number 6, where he says that there is no law in Kenya that allows a county government to finance the operations of the office of the president where they are so domiciled. And then down there with the second last item, he said that the Nairobi City County government retains responsibility over the transferred functions as provided for under Article 187(2) of the Constitution of Kenya. So the challenge I have, and it's something that sometimes I think through and I really start laughing, is how did Sonko get himself to the position of signing the transfer functions to the NMS? Because that is where it started from. Why did he actually put his signature to the arrangement? Because by the time he was signing, he knew the consequences. And honestly, so far, NMS has been doing a relatively good job when you compare with what the governor has done since 2017. He has been doing NMS have been doing a relatively good job. And for a citizen, a resident of Nairobi, our interest is not on who gives us the service. Our interest is on the service itself. So if we can be able to get good services from NMS, so be it. Whether constitutional or unconstitutional, we actually want good service from the people that we've elected, the people that have been appointed. So these things have to be sorted out. The office of the president, the Nairobi County government, they need to sit down and agree on what needs to go forward. If indeed NMS is unconstitutional, then the president can be able to work around it and put NMS like an entity within the national government and finance it so that we can be able to get development in Nairobi. Because I'm very sure if a poll was done today, no single person in Nairobi will want to be taken back to the county government with the kind of sideshows that we used to see and the kind of poor leadership that we've received from the current governor, who of course we respect a lot. So for us, it's service delivery. Whatever it takes, let us ensure that we don't experience what we did see at Pumwani Hospital the other day. We don't, of course, go back to poor roads that we've had before, and the NMS is doing a very good job in rehabilitating those roads. So let us focus on doing, of course, the right thing and ensuring that the Kenyans get the kind of service that they deserve. We pay taxes. We've been discussing about taxes since we started, and we actually want to be able to see those taxes being converted to good services to the citizens.
Pretty much. Enoch, Alex, and Collins, thank you very much for taking your time this morning to speak to us.
Thank you, Simba.
Thank you, Charles.
And that's exactly how we come to the end of the Business AM this morning. You want to take them back to the time they came to the studio, you do know what to do. 2146, that's your SMS line at Metropole TVKE, of course, all your social media platforms. And that's it for me.